Good day, everyone. Welcome to the very first class of our program, Front-End Development. My name is Ejike Mwezi, and I am your tutor for this program. Let's quickly dive into what we have for this week. For this week, we're going to be looking at the overview of front-end development, understanding front-end, essential front-end technologies, where we look at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We look at overview of career opportunities in front-end, setting up a development environment. We look at VS Code and browser dev tool. We look at installing Git and setting up GitHub for version control. We look at HTML fundamentals, basic structure of an HTML document, common tags, forms and input elements, semantic HTML, and best practices for accessibility. Now, understanding front-end development. What is front-end? Front-end development focuses on the visual and interactive aspects of a website or a web application. Everything a user can interact with is being designed by a front-end developer. If you go to an online shopping website, for the fact that you can see products, you can add to cart, you can interact with that web page, that is being achieved by a front-end developer. Now, what is the actual role of a front-end developer? A front-end developer connects design with code to deliver user-friendly experiences. A front-end developer can work with a UI UX designer. If the UI UX designer designs the page, the front-end developer is going to connect or change that design into codes that will turn to a website. Now, the key responsibility of a web developer or front-end development is building responsive, accessible, and dynamic interface. When we say responsive interface, we're looking at, is your website able to be viewed by somebody making use of a mobile phone or someone making use of a laptop or a tablet? So if your website can be able to be viewed using different devices, meaning your website is responsive. And now when we say accessible, it means everyone can access it, even those who are visually impaired can access your website. So that is what we mean by that. What does a front end developer do? Convert UI UX designs into functional code, like I said earlier on, works with designers, back end developers, and stakeholders, ensures cross browser compatibility and mobile responsiveness. So, we look at mobile responsiveness, whereby your website can be viewed using a mobile phone. Now, when we say cross browser compatibility, we're looking at your website can be opened using Chrome browser or using Safari browser or using Firefox or using Phoenix browser, whichever browser a user is using, that user can still access your web page. Now, also, a front-end developer implements best practices for performance and accessibility. How fast is your website? Is your website accessible to those who are visually impaired or who have hearing issues? Can they still access your website? Now, how front end fits into web development? Now, web development is the entire design of or entire building of a web page. Now, it has different sections. You could have the front end, which is the client side or user interface, where the user can interact. We have the back end too. Back end work with server side logic and database management. And a full stack is somebody who can combine both front-end development and back-end development. But for this program, we'll be focusing on just the front end alone. Now, let's look at this quick example. When you click a buy now button, front end handles the button, but back end processes the payment. If you go to an online shopping and you click on buy now, or you click on add to cart, or you click on cash out, when you do that, you get a response immediately. It is front end is that design that button that when you click it, you get a response. Now, the process of it sending money or processing the payment is being done by the back end. Now, essential front end technologies. For this program, we'll be looking at HTML. HTML is just take, for instance, you have a building. The walls of those buildings is known as the HTML, which is the structure and content of a web page. Ordinary HTML alone is more like just a plain text on the website. Now, when you start adding designs to the house, you color it, you place the chair in a particular position, you place the table in a particular position, and the bed is somewhere else. That is called styling. You are designing or you are adding beauty to it, and that is known as the CSS. That can be seen as the CSS of the web page. Now, the JavaScript adds interactivity and dynamic behavior where you add functionalities to your web page. Now, using that as an example, we said the building is the HTML, the design of the building, the color and the arrangement of the house is the CSS. And the JavaScript works as the functionality. When you switch on your light bulb you switch on. When you switch it off, it will off. When you turn on the fan, when you turn on the TV, all those are functionalities. They bring interactivity to the house. So that is how the JavaScript works. Now look at frameworks and libraries. Frameworks are more like embedded codes that can aid the process of your JavaScript or your CSS. We have JavaScript frameworks where we'll be looking at React, Vue, or Angular. But for the course of this program, we'll be looking at React. Now we also have version control where we look at Git and GitHub for code collaboration, and we'll see responsive design tools where we'll be looking at media queries, and we'll look at CSS framework just like Tailwind CSS. That is what we'll be focusing on and not Bootstrap. Now, modern front-end tools. We have different modern front-end tools. We have the package managers, which is the NPM or YARN. We'll be making use of the NPM because we are making use of React. We'll look at build tools, Webpack, Vite, and Parcel, or we're looking at Vite. We'll look at preprocessors, SAS or SCSS for advanced CSS, and look at APIs where we'll be fetching data, integrating with backend. Remember, we said for a full-fledged web page, you need the front end, you need the back end. Now, for the course of this program, we'll be looking at how we can only fetch data for the back end. Now, overview of career opportunities. We have different career opportunities as a front-end developer. As a front-end developer, you could work as a junior front-end developer, you could work as a UI developer, you could work as a web designer or a front-end engineer, a full-stack developer if you add your backend to it. Now, places you could work in tech companies, you could work in agencies, startups, or freelance, or you could even learn it just because you want to create your own website or your own portfolio. Skills that employers look for as a front-end developer. In the course of this program, by the end of this program, you should be proficient. You should have in-depth knowledge in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because employers look forward to that. You should have experience with frameworks, but the framework we are focusing on for this program is React. You have knowledge of responsive and accessible design. You'll be familiar with version control, which is your Git and your GitHub. You have strong problem solving and communication skills, and these are the skills most employers look for when you say you're a front-end developer. Having said that, let's quickly dive into the world of Git and GitHub. Before we see how we can install Git into our PC, let's quickly know what Git really is. Git is a distributed version control system. It helps you track changes to your code over time. Now, as a front-end developer, it is good you have a Git that you can save, a place where you can save your codes. Now, take your Git as a folder, just you have a place where you can easily save your codes on the net. Now, when you save your codes on the net, there are various advantages to that. Now, the key purpose of Git is that it saves snapshot of your project files called commit. You could go back to the previous version if something breaks and experiment safely with new features using branches. Now, for instance, you develop a website that has a particular feature, you want to upgrade on the feature, you could make branches on that your GitHub account where you can keep new features. Now, when you compare the new feature and the old features together, you can easily compare and know the one that is better for you. If you feel the previous one is better, you could go back to the previous version. But if you think the new one is better, you could replace the previous version. Now, why it matters, it prevents you from losing work. Like I said earlier on, sometimes as a web developer, unfortunately, your system might have issues or might just delete some files. But because you have stored them on Git, you can easily recover them back. So it prevents you from losing your work. It helps you to work collaboratively with other developers. Other developers can see what you've done and can still add to your code, and you too can also add to other developers' works, and it keeps your project history organized. Now, example use cases, you build a new feature, just like I said, on a branch. If it doesn't work, you can revert to the last working version without breaking the whole project. Now, we have seen what Git is. Now, what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud-based hosting platform for Git repositories. Think of it as a place to store your Git track project online. Now, we know that Git helps you to store your codes online. Now, see GitHub as the medium of which you store your codes online in Git. Now, GitHub share your code with others, just like I said, collaborate with teammates using pull requests, contribute to open source projects, and showcase your portfolio to employers, which is very important. Every employer wants to see the work that you've done before they can hire you. So it is best to store your codes on GitHub, so you store them on Git using GitHub so that they can easily see your codes. Now, GitHub has tools for issue tracking, documentation, README file, documentation such as README file, project boards, and automated workflows. All these are GitHub actions. Now, to portray more on GitHub, see your GitHub as an account that you can store your code in Git. So Git and GitHub work hand in hand. Now, key terms, there are some key terms you'll be exposed to while learning Git and GitHub. The very first one is repository, or you can call it repo. It's a project folder tracked by Git or GitHub. Now, when you have a GitHub account, you have to create repositories, and repositories are more like folders. They are more like folders that you can store your codes in them. Now, another one you could be familiar with is commit. Commit saves snapshot of your files. When you commit things, it means you are saving it. Branch is an independent version of your code to develop features safely. We made mention of branch before. You could have different versions in different branch, and you have to merge them. If you think, okay, they are okay to be merged, you can merge them. Now, merge means combining changes from different branches. And lastly, pull request, a request to merge a code into a main branch with a team reviews. Now, we've seen that. Before we dive into fundamentals of HTML, where we'll be looking at the basic structure of an HTML document, common tags, forms and inputs, semantic HTML, and best practices for accessibilities. Let's quickly see how we can install Git to our PC, because we need Git before we can use our GitHub. Now, for you to install Git, go to your browser, open your browser. If you're using Google Chrome, open Google Chrome and search for download Git. Download Git. When you download Git, when you search for it, a site will pop up where you can see this icon. This is the Git icon. You can click on downloads. Then you download for whichever one you want. You could download for Windows, you could download for Mac, you could download for Linux or Unix, depending on your operating system. Now, when you click download for Windows, because I'm using Windows, I'll click on download on Windows and it will download. Haven't download, you have to install it. Now, when you install it, for you to know it has fully installed, a you need to check your command prompt. Just go to your search. If you are using window and press CMD. CMD means command prompt. It's going to open this command prompt for you and press enter. Now, when you select command prompt, all you have to do is to say git -v, meaning you want to know the version of Git that is installed. When you click it, if you see a version here, it means your Git is successfully installed. But if you don't see a version, it means you have not installed it properly. Go back and follow the process. Now, having installed Git, you have to create a GitHub account. Go to your browser again and search for github.com. When you go to your github.com, because I have a GitHub account and I have stored it on my browser. Whenever I go to github.com, it brings me to my GitHub page, my GitHub dashboard. This is my GitHub dashboard. Now, for you, because you are opening it for the first time, you could go to sign up, then you sign up and create your own account using your name. It is advisable you use your name so that employers won't have second thoughts of the owner of that GitHub account. Now, these are the repositories. Like I said, repositories are folders. These are folders I've created, and there are things inside of the folders. Projects that I have worked on, they are inside of these folders rather. Now, for you to create a repository or for you to create a folder on GitHub, you can either do it two ways: by clicking this new, if you see it here, or you click on this icon that is here, click on it and you see your repositories. Click on your repositories, it will take you to the page where you have your repositories. If you have before, it will show you the ones that you have. If you don't have, it's going to show you an empty and show you this icon for new. Click on new to create a repository. When you click on new, this is what you see: create a new repository. All you have to do is to impute a name for it. Let me use Frontend developer. Because I have one before, it will not work. Let me change the one to Frontend 3 is the name of my repository. This place's description is optional. You could write it, you could leave it. Writing it, you describe what the project is all about or what the folder is all about. Now, take note of this part. You could either leave it in public or you leave it in private. If you leave it in public, it means you want everyone to see it. Everyone on the internet can see your project. But if you put it in private, only you one can access it and only you one can see it. Now, it is advisable if you're working for a company, you have to keep their website secure so that people cannot duplicate their website. So you keep it private. But if you want your employer to see what you've done thus far and the project you've worked on, you keep it in public. Having selected, all you have to do is to just click on create repository. Now, when you create a repository, it will appear like this, meaning you have successfully created a repository. Now, that's what we are going to stop concerning repository. There will be another video where I'll teach you how you can push your codes to this repository. Now, having said that, let's dive into the world of HTML. Before we dive into the world of HTML, you need to install the software we are going to be using, which is VS Code or any code editor. You could use any code editor, but I would advise you use VS Code. Just click on VS Code download or download VS Code and you see it will pop up like this. You click on download Visual Studio Code. Now, the same way you downloaded the Git, you could download for Windows, you could download for Mac, you could download for Linux or Unix, depending on your operating system. Now, when you finish downloading it, you install it. When you install it, you open it, and you have something like this. This is what you have. Yours, because you're opening it for the first time, to tell you to select a theme and so on and so forth. You just click on the necessary settings of your choice, then you arrive at something like this. Now, before you work on any project, it is paramount to create a folder. You could either create a folder from this file, click on file, go to open folder. When you go to open folder, you click on where you want that folder to be. Let's assume I have a folder. Okay, I'll right click here and click on new. I want that folder to be on desktop. I'll click on folder, and I can call it basic HTML. Basic HTML. That is a folder. I've created a folder. I have selected that folder and click on select folder. Like that folder is going to open here on my VS Code. It's going to open here on my VS Code. Yes, that's opened. As you can see at the top here, you have basic HTML. That's the name of the folder. Now I can start creating my HTML document, my CSS document, and my JavaScript files. Now, how do you create files? Take note of these four icons here. This one is to create a file, this one is to create a folder inside that folder, and this one is to refresh the explorer, this part, and this one is to collapse it. If I click on collapse, it's going to close this down, but I don't want to close it down. Now, the very first step we need to do, we need an HTML document. HTML documents are for websites, just like you have different file extensions. Your MP3 is for music, your MP4 is for music and videos, your .pdf is for PDF files, your .doc is for document files. Just like you have those files, web browser too has its own file, and its file extension is .html. So if you are creating a web page file, it's a must. You must end it with .html. Now, when I click on this, I want, because it's our first page, I'm going to name it index.html. I'm going to write index.html. I'll press enter. Now it has created a file known as index.html. Now, whatever I write here, I can preview it using a web browser, any web browser of my choice. I can preview it. Now, before we go forward, to aid the process of you typing, it is better you download some extensions on your VS Code. Now, when you download some extensions on your VS Code, it is going to help you to code better. Now, when you come here, this is the fifth icon. It's called extension. Click on it and you can search for extension. The very first extension I downloaded is known as Live Server. Now, when you search for Live Server, always on your extensions, always download the one that has the highest download. I've searched for Live Server. It's loading. If it loads, you see Live Server. Now, this one I have 200 million downloads. Just install. I've installed this one. I've installed it. It has 65.6 million downloads. I've installed it. That is why I can see go live here. I can easily run my code to the browser at ease. So there are lots of extensions that I'll put on the comment section, so you can, on the description rather, so you can download them too. Now, when you come here, because I'm using VS Code, VS Code comes with IntelliSense. Now, when I press Shift and 1 and press, it will bring out emmet abbreviation. When I press enter, it's going to give me the basic structure of an HTML document. Now, let's quickly go through the basic structure. This very first one is telling us the doc type, the type of document we are working on, which is what? HTML. So it is saying this doc type is an HTML document, so that a web browser can see it and access it. And you need the HTML, you need the lang ing. This lang ing is telling us the language the website is being written on. Now we have the head. The head contains meta tags and the title of the page. Let's leave the meta tag for now and let's focus on the title of the page. If I go live here, this title of the page is going to appear on my tab. Now let's go live. Let's see. So we'll be seeing the changes immediately as we are working. We'll be seeing the effects and the changes immediately as we work. It's loading. It's loading. Okay, it has loaded. It's loading here. As you can see, there's nothing on the web page because we have not added anything. Only what we can see is the title of the page, which is this document. Now let's change that document to something like my web page. My web page. Now when I save Ctrl S, go back to the browser, is loading. Sometimes it will load by itself and sometimes you need to refresh so that it will take effect. And when it finish loading, you see the title has changed to my web page. So that's how you change the title of the page. Now this part, which is the body, always your title is on the head. Now this part, which is the body, contains anything you want the user to see on your web browser. You add them to the body. You add them to the body. If I should type anything here, it is going to appear on this white space. This is where it is going to appear. Now, having said that, let's quickly see what tag really is. HTML works with tag, and tag is being separated with a greater than and a less than. This is the less than, this is the greater than. This one is an opening tag, and to have a closing tag is less than, forward slash, and greater than. That is the closing tag. So I could have a heading tag, which is H. H is for headings. So I could have an H tag. All I have to do is to come here and type H1, come to the closing tag after the forward slash and press H1. Meaning I have opened it and I have closed it. I have opened it and I have closed it. So that's how you open a tag and you close a tag. Now I haven't done that. Let's quickly see. Not all tags have closing tags. Some tags only have just opening tags. Those kind of tags are known as self-closing tags. We look at examples of those that have self-closing tags. Now quickly look at this meta tag. As you can see, this meta tag does not have a greater than, forward slash, and less than, forward slash, and greater than here obtaining the meta. So this one is self-closing. We'll see other examples as we progress in the class. Now, I haven't said that. Let's see some basic tags that we can have. Let's have the very first tag, which is heading tag H1. Because I'm using VS Code, it is easier to easily get the tags that have opening and closing by just writing it H1. Now, to bring ML calculation, if I press enter, the intelligence of the VS Code is going to give me the opening tag and the closing tag of H1. Now, all I have to do is to write what I want to appear as H1 on my browser. Now H stands for heading, so these are heading tag. If I say this is my first web page, I can save it. Let's go and check. If I go back to the browser, as you can see, it has appeared. This is my first web page. The reason why it's appearing is because I used an header inside the body tag. Now, heading tag can be 6. We have 6 heading tags in HTML5. We have heading 1 to heading 6, H1 to H6, and the biggest is H1 and the smallest is H6. I should add another one here and name it H2 and write something there. Go to the third one and do H3, write something there. You find out that the H1 is bigger than the H2, the H2 is bigger than the H3, and so on and so forth. As you can see, that is how it is here. So that's how you understand the heading tag. Another tag we could look at is the paragraph tag, which is the P tag. P is used to write paragraph. P is used to write paragraph. Now take the example as a novel. In a novel, you find out that the chapter 1, when you open the chapter 1 will be written so big, chapter 1. that is being written with H1 if you are doing that process. Now, the title of that chapter 1 is H2, which is a subtopic, is H2. Now, the text in that chapter 1, when they start writing the novel itself, is being written using a P tag. Now, let me quickly create a random text using lorem 22. It means I should create a random Latin words of 22. If I press enter, it's going to give me random 22 text of a Latin. If I save it, it is a paragraph. Check how it is. As you can see, it is written in paragraph. So that's another tag that we looked at, the paragraph tag. Another tag we would like to look at um, is the list tag. Now in HTML we have different type of list. We have the ordered list and the unordered list. Unordered list gives you this list using bullets, while ordered list gives you the listing using numbers. Now let's quickly see an example. UL is for unordered list, U is unordered, while L is for list. If I press enter, it will give me the opening tag and closing tag of UL. If I press enter again, here I can now start writing the list. As you can see, because I have an extension, it is giving me IntelliSense. Now let's make use of the IntelliSense it has got us for us. Now we have list 1, this is list 1, this is list 2, this is list 3, this is list 4, this is list 5. If I need another list, I could press enter and add another list, LI, list 6, list 7. Now let's save it. Because we are using unordered list, if you go and check, it's going to give you in bullets. It's going to give you in bullet. It is with CSS you can change the bullet of your choice. Now, another one we could have is called OL. If I have OL is for ordered list. I click enter. Now the list, this time around the list will be written. Let me just copy this one. Be as if we did something different. Copy and let me paste it here. Now it's not going to be as if. Now this one is going to give us in numbers. As you can see, it is in numbers. So that's how you write on ordered list and ordered list. That's how you write ordered list and unordered list. Now another tag we're going to look at, which is very vital, is the image tag. Now you use image tag to add images to your web browsers or to your web page. Now how do you do that? By just typing img for image tag. Now image tag comes with two attributes, the source attribute and the alternative text attribute. The source attribute is asking you where is this image stored, while the alternative text is asking you if this image does not show, this text should show. For some reason your image might not show, reason being that maybe that image has been deleted from that location or that image is no longer functioning in that location. Now it's going to show you as a broken image. Now if it does not show, the alternative text is going to show. Now another good way of accessibility is by writing a good alternative text so that those who are using screen readers, maybe somebody who is visually impaired, definitely that person cannot see your picture, but there's a picture there. You will want the screen reader to tell that person what that picture is about. That is when you can write alternative text and it will tell the person. Now we have seen what source is and what alternative text is. Now let's quickly see how we can add image. We could add image using a URL. Let's go and look for one image that we can use. Let's say image of a car. I love cars. Image of a car. Let me look for a very fine car. Okay, let's use this yellow. I love this one. I'll right click and click on copy image address. And when I copy the image address, I'll go there and paste it in the source. When I paste it in the source, wow, it's a very long link. I've pasted it in the source. Now on the alternative text, I can write a yellow car. Now when I save, if I go back to my page, as you can see, that image has been embedded in my web page. If for any reason that this image is being deleted from this part, my image will not show, but that alternative text is going to show. As you can see, that alternative text is not showing. So that is one way we could add image. Another way we could add image is when we have the image the image file in our PC. Now let's assume we have an image file in our PC and want to bring it to our web page. For best practices, it is better you have a folder separately for all the images you'll be using for your project. Now I've created a folder by clicking the second icon here, and I have named that folder images. If I press enter, it is a folder. Yours might not be showing with this icon, is because I have an extension known as VS Code icon. That is why it is showing me these different icons. Now I have images. Let's go and look for one image on my PC and drag it there. I have different shoe images. I'm going to look for a beautiful shoe because I love shoes. Okay, let me add this one that has shoe and image. Let me drag it and drop it in the folder of my image. As you can see, I have it, and the name of that file is known as bg6.png. That's the name of this image. Now let's see how we can add this particular image to our web browser. Let's come back to this place. Sorry, let me remove this one because it's looking messy already because the link is too long. Let me remove it. Backspace. Move it. Now let me put this storage location. Now how do I put the storage location? Because the image file and the index.html are on the same folder, basic HTML folder, I'll press dot and forward slash. It's going to give me everything I have inside the basic HTML. As you can see, that image is being stored inside this image folder. If I click on image folder, it will bring that image for me. I'll click on it. Now I've added that image. Let me change my description. It is no longer a yellow car, obviously. It is now a shoe. I can say my beautiful shoe. Now I can save it. When I save it, I'll go and check. As you can see, the shoe is so messy, it's so big, the image is so wide. We'll drag so wide. As you can see, it's so wide. Now there's an attribute you could add to your image. There's an attribute you can add to your image, which is width. Could add a width and a height. I've added a width of 300 and I've added a height of 200. If I save it, this is attribute you could add to an image. If I save it, I go and check. As you can see, it has reduced it to the size I wanted. I could have another height. I could say 500. Maybe the width is not big enough. I could say 500, and the height, I want the height to be 300. If I save it, go and check, find out that the image will be increased a bit. So that's an attribute you could add to image. Now that's how you add an image to a web page. Now we made mention of this alternative text, but it's not showing here. As you can see, the alternative text is not showing. Now the only way it can show is if this image is destroyed. Now let me remove this. Let me delete this image. I've deleted it. As you can see, it is no longer in our folder anymore. There's nothing in our folder. You have tampered with the location of this image. Now when you save, you go and check, you find out that the image will turn to a broken image, and then that alternative text will show my beautiful shoe. So that's how it works. If the image cannot show, my beautiful shoe will show. Now assuming you did not put anything there, this place will be blank. Somebody will be seeing the picture, but he does not know what that picture really is. So that's why you need to put an alternative text. Let's quickly Ctrl Z here so that you bring out the image, save it, and our image is back on track. Now that's how you add image. Now another tag we'll quickly look at is a link tag. Let's see how we can add a link. You've been in a site whereby a particular text might be written in a different color, that when you click it, it will take you to another website. Now let's see how we can achieve it. We achieve it using the anchor tag, a tag. Now a tag comes with an attribute href. This href is asking you which website are you linking this particular thing to? You could link a text, you could link an image, you could link a button, you could link anything at all to another website. Now let's see how we can link it to another website. Now let's say we want to link it to google.com. I have the URL of google.com, which is I'm going to put that URL here, https :// then www.google.com. Now this I've written it on the href. Now what is the thing I want to link? Is it a text? I could link a text, which is Google. Now this is a text. I'm linking a text. If I save it, if you go and check your browser, you see a link beside the image is here. Now it is showing you that it is a link. If I click on it, it will take me to Google website, google.com, as you can see. For those of you that don't know, that might not know the website on the of my article, go to your browser and search for google.com. Just click here. You see the URL. Just copy this one, Control C. Go back to your listing and paste it here. So that's how I got it, because I have it of heart. That's why I could be able to put it. And that's how you add a text. Now we could also link an image. Let's assume I want to link this my image to the browser to google.com. I have to copy it. Let's copy this one. Now where will I place it? I've removed it there. Let me place it inside the A tag. I've placed it inside the A tag, meaning I can link an image to google.com. If I save, go back there, you find out that that image will turn to something you can click. Let's refresh. We have to refresh the page. Now we have refreshed that page. That Google has left the browser, but this image now, if I click on the image, it will take me back to google.com. So that's how you can link an image. That's how you can link an image to your website. Now, I haven't seen that. Let's move a step forward. Let's see. We could also link our page to another of our page that we want. Maybe for instance, I have an about page and I want to link it to this my index.html. How do I do that? I'll have to go to basic HTML to create a file again and name it maybe about. Remember, it must be .html. Click enter. Let me quickly use shift and 1, press M, make abbreviation, and just write h1. H1 should be about us, and let me add a p tag and just use lorem 345. Enter. I've created a very long listing. If you check your browser, I've saved it. If you check your browser, you will not see anything. You will not see that page. Now, how do we link that page to our main page? Is by click on this our HTML index.html. Now let's say I want to link it just immediately after the paragraph. I could write here a tag, which is to link. Now remember the way we added our image to our web page is by clicking dot and forward slash. So if I click dot and forward slash, it's going to bring that about.html. If I click on about.html, now is it the text I want to link or is it the button? Let's say I want to link a button. Let's add a button here. Let's add a button tag and just write about us and save it. You find out that it's going to create a button on our web page saying about us. So I can click on it. It's going to take us to that page where we have about us and the rest. So that's how you link a page within a page.